Chatwood. I'm the man rocking the Ray-Bans. And today it's a little bit overcast. It's another day that we don't have summer. Summer's been put on hold for a little bit longer. But I have my my Friday shirt on. I've got my brand new favorite commuting mug. Actually, I'm going to say it's not my favorite commuting mug because it doesn't fit into the holders very well, so I have to hold it while I'm driving. Maybe it's worth it. Anyways, let me catch you up with some things that are going on in my life. I had last year was able to pay all my taxes off and pay my property taxes, and I was able to pay it off in one fell swoop. But it was a little bit tight, a little bit tough, and I realized I didn't have enough money put aside. So for this year, I decided to be smart about it. So I put all of my money into an account that I would use for investments, that I would actually make a little bit of money, not much, but a little bit in this account while I was saving money to pay my taxes off, coming up July 2nd. And so I put all this money into the account every week, actually, because I wanted to make sure I dollar cost to average up as I was saving up for the big bill July 2nd. And it worked. It worked incredibly well. I was investing in some great companies that did really surprisingly well, and I made a heck of a good amount of profit on it, which was nice. Just following some basic rules. I invested heavily into index funds, a lot into some blue chips, and there was a couple of trendy ones I got onto early last year. Nvidia was one of them, and I happened to be one of the rare times in my life that I actually made a great financial move, and it paid off. As I always say, right now my average is around I'd say around 5% of failures to successes, but that 5% sure make up for the failures I make. So being so smart, I left it in, and I was paying the taxes off last week, but I thought, you know what, I can leave these in a little bit longer because I want to make a little bit more money before I pay it out. And if I pay it early, the money's not doing me any good, having the bill paid off, but it's working out really well for me in this account. So I thought I'd leave it in the account a little bit longer. Well, what had happened was yesterday I realized that, I should start, considering getting that bill paid off, so I can relax and not worry about it, not stress about it. So I went into my account to start withdrawing money, start selling off these shares. You can sell off the shares pretty quick, but getting the money out of the account was 3 to 4 business days. And when I started doing the math, 3 to 4 business days took me way too close to where I needed to be. I had royally made a mistake, royally bolted myself to a problem, and that problem was I was going to be able to pay my taxes on time, and the penalty for not paying property taxes on time is substantial, very substantial. And the thing about paying a penalty like that is you don't get nothing for it. You don't get anything for it. You get zip. And so you pay it off, and it's like a $1,500 penalty. That $1,500 just goes into the air. It's a penalty you shouldn't have to. Well, you should have to pay it, but you shouldn't have paid it. And it's not like it's going to give you $1,500, another extra year of a roof, or an extra 1,000 kilometers on your car. No. So yesterday I was in a very foul mood when I did the math and realized that I wasn't going to be able to get the taxes paid on time with my original plan, how my plan worked. So I was very upset. I was upset at myself for, once again thinking that I could outsmart the system. And I was upset at the fact that I didn't read the fine print that it takes 3 to 4 days to get your money out of this account. So, you could have it transferred to a Visa card for a 2.5% fee, and that's not even including what Visa's going to take off of you if you're using a Visa card. Because if you ever read the fine print on a Visa gift card, wow, watch out. Anyways, I got to work and I got at my desk and I was really, really frustrated, really upset, and a little depressed actually. I was a little bit, hard on myself, why'd you let this happen, Dave? And I thought to myself, well, let's just sit down and write out the problem. So I sat down and I wrote out how much I had owing on my taxes, my property taxes, and then I started making a beautiful list of how much cash I could get my hands on. And that proved to be a task in itself, but I was able to get all the cash I had and to pay off, because you have to understand, I own multiple properties, and I got to pay taxes on all of them. And normally, like I say, what I do is I pay them off once a year, but there was a reason for all of this. The point, and another thing too, is this one thing about being rich. Like, a lot of people, don't understand what being rich is. A lot of people, I'll just say it. A lot of people who are in the poverty mindset believe that being rich is hoarding, and being rich is having a big bucket of cash that you just dip your hands into, or you're sitting at home on a pile of canvas sacks with dollar signs on them, and anytime you need any money, you just reach into one of these sacks and grab it. That's not the case. My money is working for me. My money is out there building things, sheltering people, investing in companies, and it's moving. It's working. And when your money's working, you don't have a lot of liquid cash on you. Now, I have my emergency fund. My emergency fund is, and I've always kept it, it's $1,000. And I have that for side of the road, car broke down, you need to get from one town to the next, emergency money. So I had that. Then I went into my cash account, my checking account, and I grabbed a bunch of all the cash from that, and I slowly started chipping away at how much I owed, and I started scrambling to get the money. Well, in doing all of this, I ended up being short, and I started to panic a little bit. But the funny thing is I actually did completely forget about my emergency fund. So I was wondering how to get this money. I didn't want to go to my friends and family to borrow it. I wanted to make sure I could do it on my own. And so I was scrambling, and boom, there, I found the emergency fund. And that emergency fund was available. I took it out. I said, you know what? I think this qualifies as an emergency. Took the emergency money out, paid off all my taxes. Actually, not true. So the funny thing is, all my accounts right now are at zero. And I had to laugh. There's gas in the tank. There's food in the fridge. There's the heat's coming in. Life is okay. Life is good. But it sure is funny to see all my accounts at zero. It's been so long since I've actually seen zero across the board in my cash accounts. I call them my living accounts. They're the accounts where the money goes in and out, but I always like to keep a buffer there. That buffer is gone. Plus now my emergency fund, my emergency backup fund, is also gone. But these are the These are the days that you kind of are ready for. Now, I can pull that money out of that investment account and pay back everything. Put the money back into my living account, and everything will be fine. Everything will be right as rain. But now that I've gotten past that and I was able to survive it without breaking into the investment fund, now I'm considering leaving it in the investment fund, because the investment fund is doing really well, and leave it there for another year and see if I can just build back from zero. I've got $0 right now. And when I say $0, I mean $0 for the next couple of days. I mean, everything's going to be trickling in. You know, I've got money coming in, every week, every month, and so I'm doing all right. So the money will come back in. We'll be back up to a healthy number in no time. I don't worry about it. But I guess the point of what this whole thing was I started the day stressed out and upset. And I was even recording yesterday upset because I was realizing the situation as I was driving into work. But now, when I got to work, that was the important part. When I got to work, I thought, you know what? Okay, let's fall back on my own teachings, my own philosophies, the things I talk about here on Financial Freeway. Let's fall back on that. And let's really listen to the words, not the emotions, not the fear, not the panic or the stress or the anxiety. Let's listen to the words. Number one, you have a problem. Whatever the problem is, whatever that problem is, write it down. So that's exactly what I did. I went into work and I wrote it down. Next problem. Start figuring out, like, not just the problem, but get the details. And here's another thing. Let's go back to the weight loss thing, which I love talking about weight loss. The details are the things you're probably hiding from. You don't want to step on the scale because it's scary and it's depressing and it might make you sad. But that's part of solving the problem, is knowing what the problem is. So you have to step on the scale. So for me, I had to sit there and find out all the problem, which was getting all the tax bills together, finding out exactly how much I made, how much I needed, and then figure out exactly how I was going to pay that. That was the problem there. And I promise you, no matter what your problems are, no matter what they are, when you write them down,